Hello everyone and welcome to my studio. I have a new Stillman and Birn Beta sketchbook. This one is 8 inches by 8 inches approximately. And it's fantastic to paint on. I love the really bright colors I can get on these pages. And this is the soft cover. This is the inside of the cover, and I'm going to do a painting demonstration today of this beautiful vase of flowers. I went the other day to our local library where they have a fish tank, and I did this fun, colorful sketch, a 2-page spread of the tropical fish in the tank. So I have a long way to go in this book. I think it has 26 pages. So let's get started, and I'll show you how to paint this beautiful vase of flowers. So I'm going to use my dagger brush. This is a Silverbrush 1/4 inch dagger brush, and these are all Rembrandt watercolor paints. This is a palette that was empty, and I filled it with Rembrandt colors that I squeezed out of a tube. So I'm going to start with a very light pink flower, and kind of in the center here. And I'm just going to make small strokes of paint, leaving lots of white. And I use quite a bit of water because it's a very light pink. And I'm going to use the same color on the flowers on this side, on the one sort of leaning towards the back. And now I'm going to add a little bit of yellow. This is cad yellow to the pink for this flower behind the lighter pink one. By the way, the pink that I used was Quinacridone rose. Now I'm going to get a nice, deep, rich pink, like a magenta. I'm going to mix Quinacridone rose with permanent magenta or primary magenta and start working on some of the darker flowers. What I liked about this vase of flowers is that the flowers look very free, and it has a very wild look about it. It doesn't look like a vase of flowers that you'd pick up from the florist. Looks like they're just picked out of the garden. So I've just decided to start with all the pink colors. One little tip if you're ever traveling and painting is if you are painting something that's really colorful, that has a lot of pinks and reds and things in it, it's a good idea to paint those first if you can't get fresh water, and then when your water's a little bit dirty, it's the time to paint the greens, because if the reds are painted when your water is kind of dirty, they won't look as bright and vibrant. They'll look kind of gray. So now I'm going to pick up some French ultramarine, and I'm going to make my own violet. So I want more of a blue violet. There are these little, I think they're thistles, popping out from the arrangement. And there's small ones and bigger ones. They're so pretty. I think I need a little more blue in some of them. I love the way they sort of lean out of the vase. Almost makes a polka dot pattern. And they're just everywhere. So now there's one beautiful yellow flower, a daisy. And I'm going to use the warm yellow for the petals that are facing right. And then I'm going to grab some lemon yellow for the flowers that are lighter, or the petals that are lighter. If you're enjoying this video, please take a minute to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be putting out new videos all the time. Videos in watercolor, on watercolor painting and oil. And maybe someday I'll get back to gouache too. I haven't lately, but I might do that. So now I'm going to pick up some Pyrole orange and go around the inside of the daisy petals with a little deeper color. And then the center is green, so I'm going to pick up some, this is Hooker's green, and I've mixed it with the lemon color. I mixed Pthalo blue with some Hooker's green and not much water because I want these values to be darker. But you see how fresh and lively this painting is? So I've got a variety of lights and darks, nice balance of red and greens, the pattern of all the little purple flowers, and I'm just keeping it light and fresh and very loose. I like to paint very loosely. When you can paint loosely and be confident and comfortable with it, it makes painting a lot more fun. You're not so stuck on making everything perfect. And that's really a fun way. It's a good approach to painting, I think. It's not right for every sketch. Sometimes you want to be really accurate, but it's also really fun to just feel like you can just paint loosely. And I think that the joy of painting comes out in your work more when you can approach it with that state of mind. So I'm going to put a little bit of this yellow, I'm just going to drop some of this yellow on the left side here. And while the paint is wet, I'm just letting it mix together. And I'm going to put a little yellow right here, and that'll just blend these stems together. So I wanted to wait until they dried a little bit before I added the yellow. I'm going to put some teal on the top lip of this vase, which is a nice curve. Don't worry either about going outside of the lines. That's part of painting loosely. You can follow your lines, but still paint outside of the lines. So I've got a couple more flowers. I'm going to paint this really deep magenta flower here. And then the lighter pink one behind it. And then this reddish pink flower at the top. See how I can just paint this flower with just a few strokes? And this one's lit from underneath, so I just took some of the paint off my brush by dipping it in water. And that allows me to just quickly paint a lighter shade of pink underneath the flower and let it all blend together with water. And there's one more of those hiding over here. So I'm going to add some details now with less water and more paint. So I started with these light ones, and now I'm just going to go through and add a few kind of squiggly marks with my paintbrush. These colors are so rich and highly pigmented, you just need a tiny bit. They're wonderful, wonderful paints. So I'm going to give this one a little bit of a red highlight at the top to kind of show the light coming from the side. We don't have to have dramatic light and shadow, but it's nice to show that warmth coming from the window on the left. So this flower has a small green center, kind of a yellow green. And this one has a yellow center, which is nice because just that small bit of yellow really balances the daisies that are showing through the back here. In fact, I think I'm going to add a couple more pops of yellow. I'm going to just add one here. Some warmth into this flower. A couple spots of yellow there. And some green. And there is our vase of flowers. I want to show you how this looks. So because this picture fills up the whole page, you know, I've got the whole background and everything painted, it's nice to have something that's more of a vignette with a lot of white around it next to it. Just makes for a nicer two-page look. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Happy painting, everyone.